Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Explorer and looked at the stars ahead. The small ship had been traveling for 3 weeks now, moving deeper into space than any human had gone before. The 30 crew members aboard were all excited about their mission. They were looking for new worlds and checking if there was life out there. "Captain, I'm getting some strange readings," said Lieutenant Amy Foster from her station. She was the ship's weapons officer, but right now she was watching the sensors. "There's something big about 2 light hours away from us." Jake walked over to look at her screen. The readings showed energy patterns that looked different from anything they had seen before. "What do you think it is, Amy?" "I don't know, sir, but it's definitely not natural. Someone built whatever is making those signals." Chief Engineer Paul Martinez looked up from his tools. He had been working on the ship's power systems all morning. "Captain, if we're going to investigate, I should check our weapons and shields first. We don't know what's out there." Jake nodded. Paul was smart and always thought ahead. The Explorer was not a warship, but it had some weapons for protection. Jake hoped they would not need them. "Take us closer, but keep us ready to run if we need to," Jake told the pilot. Navigator Lisa Chen started working at her controls. "Yes, sir. Moving us in slowly." As they got closer to the energy source, more readings appeared on their screens. The signals were coming from several large objects floating in space. They looked like ships, but they were huge compared to the Explorer. "Captain," said Communications Officer Tony Rodriguez, "I'm picking up some kind of transmission. It's not in any language we know." Jake felt his heart beating faster. This was it. This was first contact with another species. He had dreamed about this moment since he was a child, but now that it was happening, he felt scared. "Try to send them a peaceful message, Tony. Let them know we come in peace." Tony worked at his station, sending out basic mathematical signals and pictures that showed humans wanted to be friends. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then their screens lit up with warning signals. "Captain, we've got company," Amy said, her voice tight with worry. 12 ships just appeared around us. They're much bigger than we are." The alien ships moved into a circle around the Explorer. Each one was at least 5 times bigger than the human ship. Their dark hulls had strange lights running along them, and they looked like they were built for war. A new voice came through their radio. It spoke in perfect English, which surprised everyone on the bridge. "Unknown vessel, you have entered the territory of the Galactic Empire. You will surrender immediately or be destroyed." Jake looked around at his crew. They all looked scared, but they also looked ready to fight if they had to. These were good people, and he would not let anything happen to them. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Explorer. We are on a peaceful mission. We mean no harm to anyone." The alien voice came back, sounding cold and angry. "Your species is unknown to us. You will be taken for study. Shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded." Dr. Kate Sullivan, the ship's doctor, moved closer to Jake. "Captain, what do we do?" Jake thought about his choices. They could surrender and hope the aliens would be kind to them. But something about the alien's voice told him that would not end well. Or they could try to fight, even though they were outnumbered 12-1. "Amy, what do our weapons look like compared to theirs?" Amy checked her readings. "Their ships are bigger, but I can't tell how strong their weapons are. Our shields are good, and Paul has been working on some new ideas for our guns." Paul nodded. "I've been testing some changes to our railguns and plasma cannons. They might work better than the aliens expect." The alien voice spoke again. "You have 30 seconds to surrender. After that, we will open fire." Jake made his decision. He had joined the space service to explore and protect humanity. He would not give up without a fight. All crew to battle stations. "Amy, charge all weapons." "Paul, give me everything you've got in the shields." "Lisa, be ready to move us fast." "Tony, send a message back to Earth. Tell them what we found out here." The crew moved quickly to get ready for battle. Jake could see they were scared, but they trusted him. He hoped he was making the right choice. Alien ships. "This is Captain Morrison. We will not surrender. We are leaving this area now. Do not try to stop us." The alien voice laughed, a sound that made Jake's skin crawl. "Foolish creatures. You think your primitive ship can fight the Empire? We have ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Your species will learn to bow before us, or you will die. Jake sat down in his captain's chair and gripped the arms tight. Amy, target the closest ship. Paul, shields to maximum. Lisa, when I give the word, get us out of here fast. The seconds ticked by slowly. Jake could hear his heart beating and the quiet sounds of his crew working at their stations. Then the alien ships opened fire. Bright beams of energy shot toward the Explorer from all directions. The ship shook as the beams hit their shields, but the shields held. Paul's improvements were working. Return fire, Jake shouted. The Explorers' guns fired back, sending projectiles and energy beams toward the nearest alien ship. To everyone's surprise, their shots hit hard. The alien ship's shields flickered and failed. Direct hit, Captain, Amy called out. Their shields are down. Jake smiled grimly. Maybe they had a chance after all. The alien ship with the damaged shields tried to move away from the Explorer, but Amy was ready for it. She fired again, and this time, her shots went through the enemy's hull. The big ship started to spin out of control, with fires burning inside it. 1 down, 11 to go, Amy said, but her voice was not happy. She knew they were still in big trouble. The other alien ships changed their attack pattern. Instead of shooting all at once, they started taking turns. This made it harder for the Explorer to defend itself. They're learning from our first attack, Jake said. Paul, how are our shields holding up? Paul looked at his readings and shook his head. Not good, Captain. Each hit takes more power, but I have an idea. Give me 2 minutes. Lisa, keep us moving. Don't let them get a clean shot at us. Lisa's hands moved fast over her controls. The Explorer twisted and turned through space like a fish swimming away from sharks. The alien ships were bigger and stronger, but the human ship was much faster. Captain, I'm reading their radio signals, Tony said from his station. They're talking to each other and they sound worried. What are they saying? Something about our weapons being impossible. They keep saying we shouldn't be able to hurt their ships. Dr. Kate Sullivan moved around the bridge, checking on crew members, who had been thrown around when the ship shook. Everyone stay calm and do your jobs, she told them. We're going to get through this. Paul finished his work and looked up with a big smile. Captain, I just made our shields much better. Instead of just blocking their shots, our shields will now learn from each attack and get stronger. What do you mean? Jake asked. Watch this. Paul pressed some buttons, and the ship's shield started to glow with a different color. When the next alien energy beam hit them, the shield absorbed most of the power instead of just stopping it. Amy's eyes went wide. Paul, that's amazing. Our shields just got twice as strong from that hit. And they'll keep getting stronger with each shot they take, Paul said proudly. The alien ships kept firing, but now their weapons were helping the Explorer instead of hurting it. After 5 more attacks, the human ship's shields were so strong that the alien weapons barely touched them. Impossible, came the alien voice over the radio. No species has technology like this. Jake stood up from his chair. Amy, target their biggest ship. Let's show them what else we can do. Amy aimed the Explorer's main gun at the alien command ship, but instead of regular shots, Paul had loaded something special. Firing electromagnetic pulse, Amy announced. A wave of invisible energy shot out from the Explorer and hit the alien command ship. All the lights on the big ship went out and it stopped moving. Direct hit. Their ship is dead in space, Amy reported. Tony was listening to more alien radio signals. Captain, they're panicking. They're calling for more ships and asking their command what to do. Lisa kept the Explorer moving in patterns that the aliens could not predict. Every time they tried to surround the human ship, she found a way to escape their trap. Dr. Sullivan, how is the crew holding up? Jake asked. A few bumps and bruises, but everyone is fine. Whatever Paul did to our gravity system is working great. We should be getting thrown around much more than we are. Paul grinned. I've been working on that for months. The ship can now predict which way we're going to move and adjust the gravity to keep everyone comfortable. 3 more alien ships moved in to attack the Explorer from different directions. Amy was ready for them. She fired the railguns at the first ship, and the metal projectiles went right through its armor like it was made of paper. The second ship tried to ram the Explorer, But Lisa saw it coming and moved the ship just enough that the alien vessel missed by inches. As it flew past, Amy hit it with plasma cannons that melted big holes in its side. The third ship was smarter. It stayed far away and tried to hit the Explorer with long-range weapons. But Tony had been working on something too. "Captain, I figured out how to jam their targeting systems. They can't hit what they can't see." Tony pressed some buttons and suddenly the alien ship started firing at empty space. It could not tell where the Explorer really was. "Now, Amy," Jake shouted. Amy fired everything the Explorer had at the confused alien ship. The combined attack from railguns, plasma cannons, and energy weapons destroyed the enemy vessel in seconds. In just 10 minutes of fighting, the Explorer had destroyed or disabled 6 of the 12 alien ships. The remaining 6 were keeping their distance, afraid to get too close to the small human vessel. "Captain," Tony said, "I'm picking up a transmission they're sending to somewhere far away. They're reporting what happened here. Can you stop the message?" "Too late, sir. It's already gone." Jake looked at the remaining alien ships on his screen. They were just floating there, not attacking anymore. He could tell they were scared. "Amy, send them a message. Tell them they can leave if they want to." Amy opened a communication channel. "Alien ships, this is the Explorer. You are free to go. We do not want to fight anymore." One by one, the remaining alien ships turned around and flew away as fast as they could. Soon the Explorer was alone in space with the wreckage of the ships they had destroyed. "Well," Jake said, sitting back in his chair, "I think we just started. Something big." Tony looked up from his station. "Captain, that message they sent included everything about our weapons and shields. Whoever they reported to now knows exactly what we can do." Jake nodded. "Then we better get ready. Something tells me this is just the beginning." Far away in the center of the galaxy, Admiral Zethkar stood in the command center of the Imperial fleet. He was a tall alien with gray skin and 4 arms. He had been fighting wars for the Empire for over 200 years, and he had never lost a battle. But today he was staring at a report that made no sense to him. "Read it again," he told his assistant. The younger alien cleared his throat nervously. "Admiral, 12 of our patrol ships encountered one small vessel from an unknown species. The alien ship destroyed 6 of our vessels and damaged 2 others. 4 ships escaped to report the incident." Admiral Zethkar's 4 hands clenched into fists. "One ship? One small ship did this to a full patrol?" "Yes, sir. The survivors say the enemy had weapons and shields unlike anything we have seen before. Their technology appears to be more advanced than ours in several areas." The Admiral walked to a large window that showed the stars. The Empire controlled most of those stars. For 3,000 years, they had been the strongest force in the galaxy. Every species they met either joined them or was destroyed. "Show me the recordings from the battle." A large screen came to life, showing the fight between the Explorer and the Imperial ships. Admiral Zethkar watched as the small human ship moved faster than should be possible. He saw their shields get stronger instead of weaker when attacked. He watched their weapons cut through Imperial armor like it was nothing. "This is impossible," he said quietly. His assistant nodded. "That's what the ship captain said too. But it happened." Admiral Zethkar called for an emergency meeting. Within an hour, all the top commanders of the Imperial fleet were gathered in the main conference room. The room was huge, with seats for hundreds of officers from different alien species that served the Empire. Fleet Admiral Vorthak entered the room. He was even older than Admiral Zethkar and had helped build the Empire into what it was today. Everyone stood up when he walked in. "Sit down," Fleet Admiral Vorthak said. His voice was deep and scary. "I have read the reports tell me this is some kind of mistake." Admiral Zethkar stood up. "I wish it was, sir, but we have checked everything. One small ship from a species we have never met destroyed half of our patrol force. What do we know about these humans?" Intelligence Officer Commander Nick stepped forward. She was good at finding information about enemy species. "Not much, sir. We intercepted some of their communications during the battle. They mentioned something called Earth and talked about colonies and the fleet." Fleet Admiral Vorthak's eyes went wide. The fleet? You mean there are more ships like that one? It appears so, sir. From what we can tell, the ship we fought was called a scout ship. This suggests it was not even their main fighting vessel. The room went completely quiet. Everyone was thinking the same thing. If a scout ship could destroy 6 Imperial vessels, what could their real warships do? How many humans are there? Fleet Admiral Vorthak asked. Commander Nix looked at her. Notes. We don't know exactly, sir, but our long-range sensors have detected human colonies in at least 7 different star systems. Each colony shows signs of heavy industry and space construction. They're building ships, Admiral Zethkar said. Lots of ships. Fleet Admiral Vorthak stood up and began pacing around the room. In 3,000 years, we have never met a species that could match our technology. Most aliens were still using chemical rockets when we found them. How did these humans become so advanced? Maybe they learned from other species, suggested one of the younger officers. Commander Nix shook her head. No, sir. Their technology is completely different from anything in our databases. They developed it on their own. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the Explorer was racing back toward human space. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his chair, thinking about what had just happened. His small ship had just started a war with an empire that controlled most of the galaxy. Captain, Tony said from his communication station, I'm getting a response from Earth Command. Admiral Collins wants to speak with you right away. Jake nodded. Put him through. Admiral Frank Collins appeared on the main screen. He was an older man with gray hair and serious eyes. Captain Morrison, I've read your report. Is it all true? Yes, sir. Every word. We found the Empire, and they're not friendly. But Admiral, our new technology worked better than we hoped. We won the fight. Admiral Collins leaned forward. Jake, you may have won the battle, but you've started something much bigger. We've been preparing for this day for years, but I hoped it would never come. What do you mean, sir? The Empire you found controls thousands of worlds. If they decide we're a threat, they'll send everything they have to destroy us. Captain Jake felt his stomach drop. How many ships do they have? Our estimates say over 50,000 warships, maybe more. The bridge of the Explorer went quiet. 50,000 ships against humanity's small fleet seemed impossible, but Admiral Collins smiled. Don't worry, Jake. We've been busy while you were exploring. The ship you're flying is just the beginning. Wait until you see what we've been building. Back in the Imperial Command Center, Fleet Admiral Vorthak was making decisions that would change the galaxy forever. Send word to all fleet commanders. I want every available ship moved to the border regions. If these humans want a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget. What about the Emperor, sir? Should we tell him? Fleet Admiral Vorthak thought, for a moment. Emperor Kethvar had ruled the Empire for 800 years. He was used to easy victories against weak enemies. Yes, tell him, but make sure he understands how serious this is. These humans are not like the others we've fought. As orders went out across the Empire, thousands of warships began moving toward human space. But none of them knew that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades, and they were about to face an enemy unlike any they had ever imagined. Admiral Frank Collins stood in the war room deep inside Earth Defense Headquarters. The room was filled with screens showing star maps, ship positions, and reports from human colonies across space. President Helen Baker sat at the large table with the top military leaders of humanity. How long do we have? President Baker asked. Admiral Collins looked at the latest intelligence reports. Our long-range sensors show Imperial ships moving toward our border. Based on their speed, maybe 2 weeks before they reach our outer colonies. General Bill Murphy, head of the Colonial Defense Force, leaned forward. That's not much time to get everyone ready. We've been preparing for this day for 20 years, Admiral Collins said. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. President Baker pressed a button on the table, and a new screen appeared showing the hidden shipyards near Proxima Station. The screen showed hundreds of ships under construction, much larger and more powerful than the Explorer. Captain Steve, Hunter, are you ready? Admiral Collins asked. On the screen, a man in a blue uniform saluted. Captain Hunter was standing on the bridge of the biggest ship humanity had ever built. The UFA Defiance was over 2 miles long and packed with weapons and technology that had never been tested in real combat. Yes, sir. The Defiance is ready for battle. My crew of 3,000 is excited to show these aliens what human engineering can do. Dr. Alan Cross, humanity's top military scientist, stepped forward. He had been working in secret laboratories for years, developing weapons and defenses that the Empire would never expect. Admiral, all our new technology is ready. The adaptive armor can repair itself during battle. Our quantum communication systems will let our ships work together like one big brain. And our new fusion weapons can destroy targets the size of small moons. Colonel Maria Santos, commander of humanity's fighter pilots, smiled. My pilots have been training in simulators based on Imperial ship designs. Commander Rick Hayes and Captain Nancy Brooks have each flown over 1,000 practice missions against Imperial tactics. Admiral Collins nodded. Good. What about our intelligence gathering? We've been listening to Imperial communications for weeks, said Major Tom Wilson from the Intelligence Division. They're scared, but they're also angry. They're bringing more ships than we expected. How many? President Baker asked. Major Wilson looked uncomfortable. Over 5,000 warships are heading our way, maybe more behind them. The room went quiet. 5,000 ships was a huge number, much more than humanity's entire fleet. But Admiral Collins didn't look worried. Remember, they've never fought anyone like us. Their ships are old and use the same tactics they've used for thousands of years. Our ships are designed to fight smart, not just fight hard. Captain Hunter's voice came from the communication system. Admiral, the first battle group is ready to move out. Should we head to the border? Not yet, Captain. Let them come to us. We have surprises waiting for them. On the edge of human space, hidden bases that had been built in secret for years were coming online. Captain Dan Foster commanded the base at Wolf Station, which looked like a small asteroid but was actually filled with weapons and sensors. All defense platforms are ready, Captain Foster reported. The Imperial ships won't know what hit them. Meanwhile, the Explorer was racing back toward Earth with important information about Imperial technology. Captain Jake Morrison had sent detailed reports about their weapons, shields, and tactics. Tony, are you still intercepting Imperial messages? Jake asked. Yes, Captain. They're really worried about us. They keep talking about our impossible technology and asking their scientists how we built our ships. Chief Engineer Paul Martinez was busy making improvements to the Explorer based on what they had learned in the battle. Captain, I think I can make our shields even stronger, and Amy's weapon systems can now target multiple enemies at the same time. Dr. Kate Sullivan was studying the medical data from their battle. The crew handled the stress much better than expected. Our new training programs really work. Navigator Lisa Chen was plotting courses for the human fleet. Captain, I've found the best places for our ships to meet the Imperial forces. We can use the asteroid fields and nebulas to our advantage. Back on Earth, Admiral Collins was coordinating with leaders from all the human colonies. Each colony had been secretly building ships and training crews for years. New Angeles Station reports 50 warships ready, came one report. Mars Defense Command has 75 ships standing by, came another. Titan Base confirms their new experimental vessels are operational. President Baker looked at the growing list of ships and crews. How many total? Admiral Collins smiled for the first time in days. Over 800 ships, Madam President. Not as many as the Empire, but our ships are much more advanced. What about our secret weapon? President Baker asked quietly. Doctor. Cross stepped forward again. The Unity project is ready. We can link all our ships together so they fight as one fleet instead of individual vessels. The Empire has never seen anything like it. Captain Hunter's voice came through the speakers again. Admiral, we're getting reports that Imperial scouts have reached our outer sensor grid. They'll detect our colonies soon. Admiral Collins stood up. Then it's time. Send the signal to all human forces. Operation Rising Sun is now active. Across human space, hundreds of ships began moving toward predetermined positions. Fighter squadrons launched from hidden bases. Defense platforms powered up their weapons. The Empire had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years, but they had never faced an enemy like humanity. In a few days, they would learn that some species don't bow down to anyone, and in the deep space between the stars, Captain Jake Morrison and the crew of the Explorer continued their race home, carrying the intelligence that would help humanity win the greatest battle in galactic history. Admiral Zethkar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as over 5,000 Imperial warships moved through space in perfect formation. This was the largest fleet the Empire had assembled in over 1,000 years. Surely no species could stand against such power. "Admiral, we are approaching the human border," reported his navigator. "Good. Today we will show these humans what happens when someone challenges the Empire." But as the Imperial fleet reached the edge of human space, Admiral Zethkar noticed something strange. There were no human ships waiting for them. The space around the human colonies looked empty. "Where are they?" he asked. Commander Nix checked her sensors. "I'm not detecting any ships, Admiral. Maybe they ran away when they saw how many ships we brought." Admiral Zethkar smiled. "Cowards. Just like all the other species we have conquered," but he was wrong. The human ships were there, hidden behind advanced stealth technology that made them invisible to Imperial sensors. Admiral Frank Collins watched from the bridge of the UFA Liberty as the Imperial fleet moved into the trap humanity had prepared. "All ships, this is Admiral Collins. Wait for my signal." The human fleet was smaller than the Imperial force, but every ship was packed with technology the Empire had never seen. Captain Steve Hunter commanded the massive UFA Defiance while hundreds of other captains waited in smaller but equally advanced vessels. "Admiral," reported Captain Hunter, "all ships are linked through the Unity system. We're ready to fight as one." Admiral Collins nodded. The Unity system was humanity's greatest advantage. Instead of each ship fighting alone, all human vessels would share information instantly and coordinate their attacks perfectly. "Imperial fleet, this is Admiral Collins of the Human Defense Force. You have entered our space without permission. Leave now, or we will defend ourselves." Admiral Zethkar laughed when he heard the message. "Human Admiral, you are outnumbered. 10-1. Surrender now, and your people will be allowed to serve the Empire. Refuse, and we will destroy every human world we find." "That's not going to happen," Admiral Collins replied. "All human ships, decloak and attack." Suddenly, the empty space around the Imperial fleet filled with human warships. They appeared from nowhere, surrounding the surprised Imperial forces. The Empire's sensors had been completely fooled. "Impossible," Admiral Zethkar shouted. "How? Did they hide so many ships?" The battle began immediately. The Imperial ships fired first, sending thousands of energy beams toward the human fleet. But the human ships moved like they were dancing, each one knowing exactly where the others would be. Captain Hunter's Defiance took the first Imperial shots on its shields, but the shields didn't weaken. Instead, they absorbed the energy and made the ship stronger, just like the Explorer had done weeks before. "Return fire," Admiral Collins ordered. The human fleet attacked as one. Every ship fired at the same targets, concentrating their power to destroy Imperial vessels quickly. The Empire's ships were tough, but they couldn't survive when 20 human ships attacked one target at the same time. "We destroyed 50 of their ships in the first minute," reported Captain Nancy Brooks from her fighter squadron. Colonel Maria Santos led her pilots in attack patterns that the Imperial forces had never seen before. Commander Rick Hayes flew his fighter through the middle of 3 Imperial ships, destroying all of them with weapons that cut through their armor like paper. Admiral Zethkar watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart. The human ships fought with perfect coordination, never getting in each other's way, never wasting shots on targets that were already destroyed. "How are they doing this?" he asked Commander Nix. "Their ships are connected somehow. They're fighting like one giant ship instead of many small ones." The Imperial fleet tried to adapt, but they had been using the same tactics for thousands of years. The human fleet changed its strategy every few minutes, keeping the Empire confused and off balance. Captain Jake Morrison and the Explorer arrived just as the main battle was reaching its peak. The small scout ship immediately joined the fight, its crew working perfectly with the larger fleet. "Amy, target that command ship," Jake ordered. "Already locked on, Captain," Amy replied. The explorers' improved weapons hit the Imperial vessel hard, causing it to spin out of control. After 2 hours of fighting, over half the Imperial fleet was destroyed or disabled. The remaining ships tried to retreat, but the human fleet was faster. "Admiral Zethkar," came a new voice over the radio. "This is Emperor Kethavar. I'm coming to see these humans for myself." A new group of ships appeared, even larger and more impressive than the first Imperial fleet. Emperor Kethavar commanded from the biggest ship anyone had ever seen, a vessel over 5 miles long. "Humans," the Emperor's voice boomed across space. "I am impressed. No species has ever fought us like this. But now you face the Imperial Guard, my personal fleet. Surrender, and I will make you rulers of your own worlds under the Empire." "Admiral," Collins looked at the new threat. The Emperor's ships were much more advanced than the regular Imperial fleet. This would be the real test. "Emperor, we appreciate the offer, but humanity doesn't bow to anyone. If you want to fight, we're ready." The final battle was fierce but short. The human ships used new tactics and weapons that even the Imperial Guard couldn't counter. Dr. Alan Cross's experimental weapons destroyed ships with single shots. The Unity system let human forces predict and counter every Imperial move. When it was over, Emperor Kethavar's ship was the only Imperial vessel still working. The proud ruler who had commanded the galaxy for 800 years sat alone among the wreckage of his fleets. "How?" was all he could say. Admiral Collins opened a communication channel. "Emperor, humanity offers you peace. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to be left alone to explore and grow. But if anyone threatens us again, this is what will happen." Emperor Kethavar looked at the thousands of destroyed ships around him. For the first time in his long life, he felt fear. "I accept. Your terms, humans. The Empire will not bother you again." And so the galaxy entered a new age, where an ancient empire learned to respect a young species that refused to be conquered.